Who's scruffy looking?
What is up, my fellow nerds and gangsters? Welcome back to the Spiffy Nerd Herder channel. I am Danny. A big thanks to every one of you who has joined the Spiffy Nerd Herder Discord server so far. The place to be when it comes to young filmmakers coming together, collabing with each other, learning from one another, and straight up being sweet.
Oh, I love it.
And also, let's do another giveaway. Another panel of storyboards drawn by yours truly. So if you want to win one of these bad boys that will be signed by me as well, comment below with what you would want my personalized message to you to be, and I will choose a winner in the next video.
I want that.
Today, let's talk color correction when it comes to color. Color correction has two main purposes. The first is to make sure that each shot matches each other in a given sequence. In other words, if you have a shot that's too bright or too red in comparison to the rest of the shots, color correction is meant to correct that problem. This way, all the shots seamlessly blend together, and the audience never gets distracted by any visual shifts on screen. The second main purpose, for lack of a better way to say it, is to give your image a cool look. But a word of caution when it comes to color correction. Color correction is not a way to save poorly shot footage. It is always best to deliver well-lit, in-focus shots to your colorist. Then you are going to be able to do more with it. Secondly, some of you may have noticed the RAW setting on your cameras or phones. These settings produce a very low contrast, somewhat milky looking image that straight up doesn't look very good. But it's actually very good for color. Take a look. Because the image is so neutral, it allows the colorist to take it in infinite more directions than if the image had all of the color and contrast already baked into it. So shooting camera raw, or sometimes known as log, is a good thing. So let's answer the big question now though, guys. How did color correction come into play in Vader Shards of the Past? Well, for Vader, Matt Holla, the cinematographer, myself, and Harry Locke IV, the colorist, were all very inspired by Bradford Young's use of color in Solo. We loved his saturated blues with the white worms, and his yellows when Han meets Lando. So we wanted that type of unique color that really isn't seen too much in the Star Wars universe in Vader. The red in the opening scene represented Vader and his anger and power, while the blue represented the calm control and power that Palpatine had. So we shot these scenes with red and blue lights, with each in-world light source being a blue or a red star outside the window. We did not wait until color correction to make these scenes red or blue. It would have never have looked as good if we tried to do it that way. Now with the red scene though, once we shot it, we found that going too red actually didn't look that great since Vader's lightsaber got lost and the light itself felt artificial. Pure red light may exist somewhere in space, but it doesn't really exist in our world, so it always felt artificial. So we opted for more of an orangish red. We achieved that look by simply adding some yellow to the image. If we would have added white, that would have made it more pink, which is not the way we wanted to go. This isn't Pink 5. Now, the only place we did not do this red treatment to all of scene 1 was the shots with Padme. Why? Because ain't no one look good with blaring red lights, even Padme. So we had her key light be a standard tungsten bulb, which casted that more of a white yellowish light onto her in comparison to the red light around her. A key light is the primary light source that is lighting the subject. A tungsten bulb is the kind of the standard light bulb that you might find in any one of your houses. Initially, our colorist Harry was going with the first mandate of color correction and matching those Padme shots with the other shots around them. And so she was really like Smurf-like red Darth Maul-ish.
Hello there.
Harry was able to isolate her face and take the red out of that while leaving the rest of the scene intact. That's one of the powers of color correction or color grading and motion tracking when using what's known as power windows, or in other words, isolating certain parts of the frame and only making a given color correction to that part rather than the entire frame as a whole.
You is talking loco, and I like it.
Now, another aspect that came up during Vader was the issue of crushing the blacks, and it's something that I see a lot in student films and low-budget films. Crushing the blacks is essentially bringing down the blacks really, really low so they're really dark and often lose pretty much all of their detail. On one hand, it looks kind of cool. On the other hand, it looks like absolute nonsense. I mean, think about a big film that you see in theaters. None of them are doing it. For Vader, it was extremely important to us that we connect with him, so we knew that we needed to see every single detail of Vader's suit and mask in order for the audience to be able to connect with him. Now, truthfully, there are some shots in Vader that look a little bit too crushed on some monitors for my taste. So maybe we should have raised the blacks a bit more. But they did look good on calibrated monitors, so what does that mean? Finding the right blacks often requires a lot of testing on different uncalibrated screens like a phone or a television, because most screens that you're filmed are going to be watched on are not calibrated. When I was looking at files that Harry was sending me, I was looking at them on 4 screens. My phone, this TV, this monitor, and this monitor, because they all have slightly different colors because none of them are calibrated.
All right, I guess that's about it.
Now for the last scene of Vader, we shot during the day, But the scene was supposed to take place at night because I felt that night better conveyed the emotions of the scene at this point in the story. So we had Vader's shuttle land outside at night, and the light of his ship hit the door, which is meant to be the light we see coming through the door on the interior. From there, we color timed everything inside darker. But not only that, we added a little blue tint, since blue represents night, and strengthened the yellow tungsten practical lights on the walls, which help gives the nighttime illusion as well, and I was pretty happy with the result. So guys, color correction is an amazing tool and something that you should virtually never overlook. There are plenty of fantastic tutorials out there that talk about the ins and outs of contrast, color, curves, brightness, and they are all worth looking into. And as a director, you should really know this lingo and language so that you can better communicate with not only your colorist, but also your cinematographer. Remember, color correction really begins with the cinematographer and your production designer too. I once worked on a project where the cinematographer hated the color green, but that memo never got to the production designer, who dressed the main character in green.
Well, that's not good.
So thanks for joining me today, guys, and remember to look for new videos from me every Wednesday and Saturday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And remember to stay spiffy and don't do anything I wouldn't do twice.